Hi, ABC. We're the Gwinn family. I'm Joe.
I'm Laurie.
I'm Will. I'm 8.
I'm Pete. I'm 6.
You're 6 today.
This is Lars. He's 4. Let me start from the beginning. Our family had been sick for about 6 years. We didn't know what was going on. We had respiratory infections, upper respiratory infections, lots of gastrointestinal problems, joint pain, fatigue, recurring infections of all kinds, hair loss, memory problems, and we didn't know what was wrong. We were constantly at the doctor, and then we found in March of 2010 that we had mold growing behind the walls of our house that we lived in. And we had just finished paying that house off 3 years before. Insurance doesn't cover mold damage, so the house was a complete loss. We couldn't get rid of the mold. We decided the only thing we could do was build a new house, and we set out to do that. We contracted for a new house to be built, but since we had just lost our home and everything in it, we didn't have $200,000 to spend on a new home. So we found a company not too far from here that makes ready-to-move homes. They're not supposed to be modular or mobile, but they're just supposed to be a lot less expensive because all of the supplies that the builder needs and all of the manpower are in one place. So we bought a home. It took about a year before it was ready from the time we moved out of our first house, and during that time we lived in 7 different places. Every place we moved had enough mold to make us sick, and one place was a 2-year-old house. We just couldn't believe a 2-year-old house could have that much mold behind the walls, but it did. So from March of 2010 until March of 2011, our mantra was just get through. Just get through, get into the new house, and then you can focus on resolving the health issues that you have. We moved into the new house March 3rd. By April 21st, Pete had pneumonia again, and the rest of us were sick. And Joe and I aren't stupid. We try not to be. But we recognized the symptoms, but we thought there's no way these symptoms could be from mold. This is a brand new house. Turns out that the symptoms were from mold. This is the home we had built 4 months ago, and it looks like a disaster area. It actually was put together once upon a time, but we had some problems with mold growing in the attic, and we became sick right after we moved into the house. And we did some testing and found that there were lots of building code violations, one of which was all of the exhaust fans were vented from the bathrooms into our attic, and all of our soffits were covered with insulation. So the mold just baked up there, and that's one of the things we had problems with. So we had to move out. We just moved back in yesterday. Everything here is in bags. Everything that we own had to be washed, and we haven't gotten to reorganizing things yet. All of the carpet, as you can see, is gone. We have to put things back in up top, and we had to replace the ceiling. It was completely torn out because the workers couldn't get to the mold that was above this ceiling because there was such little space up there. So that's why the light fixtures and everything are missing right now. When we moved into our house in March, one of the first things we realized that was wrong was that our bathtub, when we put any water in it, would sag down from the tile above it by about ½ inch all the way around. And one night, when the boys were taking a bath, we realized that it was doing that. And it turns out that the bathtub wasn't installed correctly, and water immediately was getting into the walls of our new home. And we have obviously had the bathtub removed. We just know that with the health problems we've had with mold, it's just a matter of time. How do I do this? I want to say this house is built like a piece of garbage, but I don't, you know. After having lost a home and everything in it, we don't have the finances to fix the house and make it the way our family needs it to be right now. We've had 20 or so different symptoms related to mold over the course of the 6 years that we had our previous home, when we were sick all the time and we didn't know what was causing it. Now we do, and when we see these things like pneumonia and repeated respiratory infections and fatigue and numbness and joint pain, we know immediately what it is. But we've had so many problems with this house in the 4 months that we've had it We just spent the last month living out of it, so we've had it for 4 months, lived in it for 3, and we just don't feel that there's any way to have peace here. We're always afraid that something else is going to happen that we're not going to find out about until someone is sick again. So that's where we are.
Hi, ABC. We're the Gwinn family.
Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
Good morning, Will.
Good morning.
Hey, Pete, let's talk to you first. Tell me what mold has done to you, living in a house with mold.
It made me got sick.
Made you get sick? What were you sick with?
Pneumonia.
Pneumonia. What happens when you get pneumonia?
I had to go to the hospital and get needles.
Had to go to the hospital and get needles? How many times?
2,
2 times. How many times have you had pneumonia?
3.
3 times. What else has mold done to you, boys? What are you going to have done Friday of this next week, Will?
Have my gallbladder taken out.
Have your gallbladder taken out? Do you know any other 8-year-olds who are missing a gallbladder?
No.
No. Okay, so have you guys had any other surgeries all this time that we've been sick?
Yeah.
What have you had done?
Tonsils taken out.
Tonsils taken out? Tonsils.
Taken out.
What do you miss most about having a house?
Our stuffed animals. Our toys.
Toys? Stuffed animals?
Stuff that we had to throw away.
All the stuff we threw away? What did we throw away?
Like everything, mostly. And we threw away hats.
Your cowboy hats?
Cowboy hats that we had.
Would you guys rather, if you had the choice, would you rather live in a house with all your toys that you had before and mold? Or would you
No.
rather live in a house, in a trailer, without your toys but without mold?
In a trailer.
It's that much worse to have the mold than to have your toys?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want the most from a new house?
Not mold in it.
Just somewhere to live.
Okay, what
Like room to run and play.
room to run and play? Can you not run and play in the trailer?
No.
Why not?
It's too tiny.
It's too tiny.
And we'll get in trouble.
You will get in trouble because there's no place to go, won't you?
We don't know what to do. We have talked to everyone who says you have a really good case against the builder because obviously he did a lot of things that were wrong. But this is the house that we tried to have built right. When we went to the builder, we told him we have so many problems with mold. Can we make this new house as mold unfriendly as possible? And the house that's back there is what we got when we tried.
We've moved out of a 1800 4-bedroom, 2-bath home into a 250 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, 30-foot travel trailer. Makes living pretty difficult. We found out the other day we even qualify for free school lunches. We're considered homeless, having lived in a travel trailer. Well, financially we've exhausted all our avenues or options. We both got into, my wife and I have both got into our retirement accounts. Our savings accounts are no longer in existence. It's absolutely living from paycheck to paycheck.
Those yellow toys.
The yellow toys?
You know which one I missed, right?
Which one do you miss the most?
My big white bear and my little white bear. I would like to have that white bear, the little bear, and the panda.
Are there any books that you wish that you could have?
We can read the little books,
We
but
can
not the big books.
Okay, so what books did we like to read all the time that we lost?
Good Night Moon.
Good Night Moon.
Nuh-uh. Oh no. What are those?
We've been really sick for a long time, and that's why we've resorted to living in a travel trailer, because We live out here in the middle of nowhere. We've tried a bunch of different houses for rental properties, and they just won't work for us because there's too much mold in them. So we need a house, and we need it for our kids. We need it for our kids' childhood so that they can grow up in a somewhat normal environment.
This is not a solution for 3 to 5 years. We can't live here. We cannot live here for 3 to 5 years. But the last year has taught us, from moving 7 different times, that there are just no houses available in this area that will fit a family of 5 and can be well enough built and taken care of to be without mold that's going to cause us problems. While we live here so far, we take all of our showers outside. We're doing everything we can to avoid excess water vapor in the trailer, because we know that if anything happens to this, we really are in a worse situation than we are right now. The boys have no room to play. They're 4, 6, and 8 years old. We don't have room for very many toys in here. They're frustrated about that. This summer it has been 105, 110 degrees almost every day for, 2 months? In the wintertime in Oklahoma, it can be brutally cold, sub-zero at times, and this is just not a place to have your childhood. This is not what we want to raise our children in. I was 35 before I had Will, and I waited a long time to have children, and this is not close to what I envisioned having for them. At least when we're here out of the house, they are better physically, but they need a childhood. They need a place to play, and they only get one chance of being kids. And I just shudder to think what they might remember of their childhood, that, for a long time they were sick, and then we found out why everyone was sick, and then we couldn't do anything about it, and we've tried really hard, and we've lost twice now. We're paying for a nice new house, but we can't live in it, so this is where we are.